Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Man Shed. Okay, so over 2 years ago now, I did a review of this light. This Erbauer rechargeable work light from Screwfix. Now, I gave it a good review at the time, and it is a good light. It's nice to hold, nice to adjust, powerful enough for normal use, but... and as you can see, it's in bits at the moment. Half of it is missing. I'll show you that. Don't worry, I'll be showing you how to take it to bits and how to put it back together. It seems that quite a few people, there's 3 or 4 of these videos on YouTube, have had trouble with it not lasting long, sort of like the battery instantly giving out. It works when it's plugged in on charge, but as soon as you unplug it, it only works for like 1 second and then stops. And if you can catch it, if you just get onto the dimmer switch, because you press it once for the top, the brightest, and then twice for a slightly dimmer. If you can get the twice, it can sometimes last a bit longer. But it still goes out even with a fully charged battery. So there's something wrong somewhere, dud battery or whatever. So again, I looked at a couple of YouTube videos, and I thought I'd make one anyway, even though sort of like the solution is up there, and I thought I'd make one myself, showing me putting the actual circuit board on and everything. And what it is, it's this. Well, first of all, let's have a look. I'll show you the symptoms of what it does. Yesterday, after I'd taken it apart, I took it into the kitchen and I filmed it, and this is exactly what the fault is. Okay, so these are the symptoms if yours is doing the same thing. As you see, I've got the battery out and everything. Just ignore that at the moment. I'm just doing it like this because I've been experimenting, trying to find out what's wrong. I will show you how to take it all apart shortly. Don't worry about that. But just before I actually try the new circuit board in the battery management board, I'm just going to show you the symptoms. So when you first turn it on, it's just connected up now as it normally would be. If I turn it on and leave it on full, you'll see the 4 lights come on. It comes on full, goes straight down and then off. If I check the battery, I'll show you the battery. The battery is full. 7.8 volts, so there's plenty of life in the battery. If I plug the charger in, the lights go straight up to fully charged. If I turn it on, it stays on all the time. No problem, because we're plugged into the charger supplying the power. Turn it off. Also, if I quickly go on to low, you press twice to go on the low, it stays on low for a lot longer. Doesn't just cut out. When I press it on now, it probably won't even come on at all. Yes, it did. But I pressed it twice, and as you can see, on low, it is staying on longer. But it does, you can see, look, still go out. You can spring it back into life sometimes by unplugging this plug. Unplugging that. The reason these wires are taped together is because I couldn't find a plug. It was, without me knowing, behind there, so I cut these wires. I'll be joining them permanently later. But you can temporarily, there's another YouTube video about it, and he just unplugs it, plugs it back in, or he does it up from the circuit board inside. And it seemed to work for a while, but then it went faulty and he had to put a new board on. So that's the symptoms. Like I say, you turn it on full, it's straight off. See now, nothing is happening. Nothing, it's not coming on at all. But if I unplug that, and then plug it back in, it'll come on, and if I'm quick again and press, it stays on low for a bit longer, but goes off. So I'm going to just try it now. I'm going to take this circuit board out and connect temporarily the battery pack straight to the light without the battery management circuit in, and just see what it does then. Okay, so as you saw there, they're the symptoms. It does other crazy things as well. As soon as you plug the charger in, all the lights go straight up to the top. You know, they don't start and then gradually go up. And so if it's doing anything like that, you know, just, you know, the battery's fully charged and yet it just shuts off or doesn't charge or only works when it's plugged in, the likelihood is that it is this little tiny board which is on the battery pack. Now it's placed in the middle. It's obviously off now, but it's placed in the middle of the battery pack where the wires go, under some capped on tape. And what it is, this is called the balance board, or the battery management board. Now I'll hold it up to Carl. I'll just go on manual focus because it has trouble here. So now if you can see there on the left, left here, that says BM, or battery management. So that is where the black wire from the middle of the battery pack goes, and then the other connections are battery positive and battery negative. Oops. So you can see there, I'll just turn it around the other way, just bear with me. So you can see P minus and P plus. That's the output, the power output to the lamp. And the other side, so you've got your battery management on this side, the middle wire, and then the other ones are your power in. So yeah, as you saw there, you've got 5 connections on there. Battery, positive and negative in. Output, power output to the actual light, to the little red 3-pin, red removable plug. And the extra one that says BM is your battery management. And that levels the battery pack, it balances up the battery pack, all the 8 cells. It makes sure they've all got exactly the same voltage when it's being charged, and it extends the life of the battery. Radio control model battery packs have the same thing, and that it's called balancing. So that's what that thing does. That little green thing does. And also it will do things like cut the charge off when it's fully charged, and disconnect the battery when it's getting pretty discharged, so it doesn't fully discharge the battery, which doesn't do them any good. So that little tiny thing does quite a lot to keep the battery in good health. So it's suspect that is the fault. So what I've done now, I've totally cut this, disconnected this, all unsoldered it all, and I've connected the live and neutral from the battery pack straight to the light. So let's see if it works now, just temporarily connected up that way. Okay, so as you can see now, I've taken out that balance board, and I've just soldered the cable to the red plug here, direct onto the positive of the battery pack, and the negative direct onto the negative of the battery pack. This centre wire, it's not connected to anything, like I said, that's the balance wire that goes to the new circuit board. I've ordered them, they should be here next couple of days. So that's direct in now from that, just temporary. Again, all these are just temporary. While I show you this, they will be properly joined with heat shrink and everything. You can see on the multimeter, we have got, I've got the saying there, 7.8 volts. But if I turn it on now, on just the first click, you can see it stays on, and the battery light has gone down to just 4, which it will be because it's not absolutely fully charged. But you see it's staying on full blast, just as it should. So you can see there's nothing wrong with the battery pack or the lamp itself. That's staying on there now, and I dare say that bleeping is just the multimeter turning itself off. And I dare say that'll just stay on now for the 3 or 4 hours or whatever it usually takes to drain the battery. So it's definitely this little devil that's the problem. So I looked on eBay and said the only ones I could find were these Dayokai. You get 5 of them in a packet, right? 2S, that means it's for 2 cells in series, 7.4 to 8.4 volts, which is what we want. 3 amp. Now, 3 amp is the current draw it will handle. Our battery pack is 8 amp, but that's not the current draw of it doesn't, when it's turned on, the light isn't drawing 8 amps. That's the capacity of the battery. If it drew 8 amps, it would only last 1 hour instead of like the 4 or 5. So 3 amp current draw is definitely fine for a small LED lamp. Protection, blah blah blah, and there it is. So I shall show you probably on here. It's probably easier to, yeah. I'll show you on here. I'll show you in real life what they are, how small. But instead of me trying to focus the camera manually and that, I'll show you on here. So this is all the info. What they are. Like I say, you get 5 of them, and you get a nickel strip, which I'll show you in a minute. But they are overcharge protection, short circuit protection, overcurrent protection, tiny little things, and that's the actual connections on it. Slightly different position than the green one. So you've got your battery plus and your battery minus from the battery pack there. And then your plus, P plus and P minus are the outputs to the red male-female plug that goes to the LED, inside the LED. And then BM there, that's where the centre black lead on the battery pack goes. This one comes right out in the middle of the battery pack. That's your battery management, the balancing lead. That goes on there. Now, when you're soldering them, these two are fine. They're just normal solder pads. But these, when you heat it up, it drifts off. It's as if this is a component in its own right, and it's drifted off. So it's a bit awkward, really. They should just put a permanent pad under there. So, but if you put a blob of solder on there and tin your wire, it goes on. But it's very, very, very small, as you can see that. But that's where it goes. Battery plus, battery minus, output to the lamp plus, output minus, black lead and the red lead. And then the middle black lead springing out the middle of the battery pack goes to there. So that's that. And there they are in real life. Like I said, you get 5 of them. I've broken one off, obviously, and soldered it on already. And you get this nickel strip. That's the sort of thing you use when you're making up your own battery pack, and you're like spot welding the batteries together. But I've no use for this at the moment, but it could go in the cupboard, maybe find some use for it. But yeah, how much were they again? Let's have a look. Yeah, 5 of them and that nickel strip, including postage, and it was next day for $4.99. I mean, how did they do it? You know, there's somebody making these in a factory in China, getting paid a wage. They're using these little components, they're using the materials, they're supplying a strip of this nickel. They're then posting it to the UK or whatever. They're then posting it to you, all for £5. Mind boggles, really, but there we go. So 4 of them spare. Don't know whether I'll have any other use, but if this only proves the same as the one that was on it, the green one original that was on it, this one, and only lasts a couple of years, I'll probably been putting another one on in a couple of years. So I didn't actually video me putting the new circuit board on. It's simple enough. I showed you where the wires go earlier on. But there it is on the battery pack. So you can see the 8 cells there, wired up in 4 lots of doubles. So 2 wired together in series to give you 7.4 volts or more, and then 4 in parallel to give you 8 amp capacity. Now that battery pack was held together with blue heat shrink as usual. I'll show you a bit of that with the label on with the info later on. But it's very snug fit in the tray of the lamp, so there's no need for it to be totally wrapped in heat shrink when I put it back. So I've just put that Kapton tape over. Now Kapton tape is it's like sellotape, a very yellow sellotape, like the old yellow cellophane used to be. But it's a totally heat proof and it's an insulating tape that they use it on top of circuit boards in a lot of things. So yeah, I've just covered the new circuit board with Kapton tape, and that's a snug enough fit, and everything is covered up. So as you saw, that was the battery pack all finished. Earlier on we tested it and we know it works fine. So before we screw it all back together, and I'll show you that in detail shortly, I just did these tests while it was still in bits, just to, again, to show you the voltage at the beginning, the voltage at the end, and how long it runs on low. I did a test on high as well. I'll tell you the results of that in a second. But first of all, let's see how long it lasts on low. And then when we show this the stopwatch, I'll put up on screen how long it lasted on low on my original test 2 years ago to show you if there's been any battery degradation. So let's have a look at that now. Okay, it's been charging overnight. You can see it's fully charged. So if we unplug it, I'm going to turn it on now, and I'm going to time how long it is before it shuts off and compare it to when it was new to see how much battery degradation there's been. So I'm going to do it first on low. So I'll put it on the lower of the lights and start the stopwatch. Right, we'll see how long it lasts on low. I'll compare it, have a look at my original video on it and see how long it lasted when it was brand new. Okay, I just noticed it was flashing then. It's just gone on stairs, so I turned it off and turned it on again, it was flashing, so it's pretty much dead now. And it has been on the low light, you can see, 4 hours 34 minutes. So I'm just going to wait till it starts flashing again, and then I'm going to measure the voltage here to see what it's dropped to when it is saying the battery is done and needs recharging. You can see it's just on one bar on there. So I'll pause it now and I'll turn the cam back on when it starts flashing. Okay, you can see it's flashing now, saying I am done, recharge me. So I'm just going to disconnect that, just test the voltage. Hopefully you can see this. Okay, I've got it managed to leave it sort of steady again. It's still on 1 bar, so you can see it's pretty done. It's going to start flashing soon, but before it does, if I test the voltage now with it under load, you can see it's 7.1 volts, 7.18. So it just shows, you know, even full is 7.8, something like that. Can't remember. But when it's done, it's not much less. It's 7.1. A dud battery will show 12 volts. If you measure your car battery when it's done, it'll still show 12 volts if it's not under a great load. So it shows that the battery management thing is shutting it off before the batteries have totally discharged. So yeah, so that's good. So yeah, as you saw there, 4.5 hours or so on low, which is a pretty good time, I think. On high, I tested it on high, and it lasted, I didn't film it, but it lasted 1.5 hours. So a lot less on high, and high doesn't seem that much brighter than low. So my advice would be just keep using it on low. If you do need that extra tiny bit of brightness, put it on high. But like I say, an hour and a half on high, 4.5 on low, and which is like 3 times as much, but it's not 3 times as dim. 3 years ago when I got it, I forgot to do the high endurance test, so I imagine it's about the same. But yeah, you'll get a good 4.5 hours out, 4.5 to 5 hours out of it on low, which is pretty good. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I didn't film the taking apart of it, but I'm going to show you everything. I'm putting it all back together, and it's just the reverse of that. But once I've got it all together, I'll show you how that you prise the side panels off. So we've thoroughly tested it now. We know it all works. So I've just wrapped it, like I said, I've wrapped over the new circuit board in Kapton tape, and then I've just put some gaffer tape round the battery pack. It was sealed in heat shrink, but I haven't got any that big, and it's a dead firm fit in there. There's a foam pad underneath it, and it doesn't rattle around. If it does, wrap a bit more tape round or just pack it out, but it's a firm fit in there and it's well cushioned. That's the info off the battery pack before I throw it away. If you want to freeze it, you can see it's 8 amp, so it just shows you that there's 8 cells wired as pairs, and then them pairs wired 4 in parallel, giving you 8,000 milliamps or 8 amp capacity. Now I've got this here. There's this wire. Make sure there's a channel there, as you can see. Make sure the 2 wires go through a channel, and I can't see any other way it goes. I didn't pay any attention when I took this off. So what I've done, there's a gap there that wire goes through. These lines underneath here, these sort of ridges along here, it was seeming to be that was going in, so I've cut them down. So I've cut them right down to the surface, so there's plenty of clearance now, and that now doesn't snag that cable. But be careful how you're putting it back, and always check that cable isn't getting crushed, but it hasn't gone through it. And that is a snug fit there on there now, and it's just 6 positive drive screws go around there. I'm going to put them in with my little electric screwdriver. It's a WOWSTICK. Check the tab above, and there's a link to a review on that. It's a great little screwdriver. This case, by the way, didn't come with this case. All the bits come in 3 tubes, which are a bit awkward. But I printed this case on my 3D printer, and as you can see, it holds all the bits. Absolutely fantastic design. The 4 long bits and all the others that come with it, specially designed for this screwdriver. Again, that is in one of my videos on printing items on your 3D printer. So your 3D printer isn't just for ornaments and figurines and things, although I've printed plenty of them. You can print some nice useful things like that. It's got some nice hinges, and it locks over, goes out, and it's a lovely little case for it. So I'm now going to put it together with that. Got a light on it, and I'll catch you once I've assembled this. Okay, and once you've screwed all the battery pack together with its little screws. Okay, and I forgot to say, when you first come to dismantle it, on that battery tray you will find these little hard plastic, oops, there goes one. I've got one left, I've lost most of them, but I'll show you first. The little hard plastic covers that cover the screws, and I had to drill a hole in it. One of the YouTube videos I've seen, he said he used like a Bradall type thing, but it's a very, very hard plastic, and I couldn't find anything sharp enough to actually go manually through it. So I used a little tiny drill. They just go over them hole covers like that. So drill a little hole in it, like that, put a screw in it, and then that enables you to pull it out. And that's the last one on the floor. I won't be putting that back. I'll put a blob of hot glue or something in there. So you've got your battery pack together now. Obviously feed the cable up through that side there. Plug it into the power supply there. If you don't find that when you're pulling it apart, again, when I looked at the video first on YouTube showing that plug, I thought, oh, mine hasn't got a plug. I couldn't see a plug. And that's why I had to snip the wires here. It was only later that when I pulled it out, you pull this little stopper out, that the plug is behind there. So you may find your plug behind there or in there. So plug that back, put that little stopper back in there. I'll show you that shortly, feed that through there. And then to hold this battery pack in, there are 3 more self-tappers along the bottom there. So I'll put all them in now. Now for some reason I've got 2 of these. 2 of these fell out. I got that one out and then another one, and I can't for the life of me find out where the other one goes. I'll put this back together and I'll show you what I mean. So that just clips around there. And it's dead easy. All clips in place like so. And then you'll screw these through. So I'm going to screw them through now, and then we'll carry on. Okay, those are screwed in now. That screwdriver, by the way, it's not very powerful. I didn't want it to be powerful. You can get some sort of super tough ones. But it's ideal for screwing multiple screws if you're undoing like a laptop or something like that with dozens of screws around it. You can get them all in almost fully tight, and then you can just use it manually or use a normal screwdriver to tighten them up. Recharge it with a micro USB cable. So we've got all them 3 screws in now. 1, 2, 3 each side. 1, 2, 3 each side. All tightened up. So they're the only screws. The 6 that hold the blue lid on under the caps, and 3 each side. So 12 screws in total. And then, like I say, you just push. You can either push that in or leave it out, I suppose. But I'll push it in where I found it. And I'm going to put one of these caps as a little slot each side for the wire. So I'm going to put that round. See how that's gone round there. And then I'll push that in place. And like I said, I haven't a clue what to do with that one. If anybody's had one of these apart and they know where this other one goes, please put it in the comments. But it certainly doesn't go anywhere in this battery pack. There's no hole for it there. There's no hole for it the other side. It's a different sort of mechanism there. And the bit that goes in there is slightly different. So it's not from that side. So I'm just going to push it in here along with this one. So let's put that in. So yeah, I've got one in place, as you can see. I'm just going to push the other one in as well. So won't do any harm in there, so maybe that's how it goes. So once you've got them on, you've got the 2 sides, and they are slightly different if you look. This one has got sort of like a little hexagon drive thing and a lug in it, and this one hasn't. So obviously the one with the little hexagon bit goes over there like that. And there's these round plastic bits obviously go over them stubs. And in here, the way it's held on is just 5 little clips. You've got little lugs. So you've just got a little one there. And another one here. And then you've got one there. You can just see it above my finger. The same the other side. And we've got one at the very, very top. So just line that up with that over the stubs, and then you just click in place like that. I'll do the other side, and then I'll show you taking it off as well, just to prove they come off. And again, I forgot to mention, in here you can see there's these wire guides here, so make sure you've tucked your wire in there, which I hadn't. So you can see there I've got them in the guides, and at the top here you can see where I'd got it taped together before. I've put proper heat, soldered them and put proper heat shrink on. So again, same with this side panel, over the lugs. Give it a press. And again the bottom, just give it a clout down, and we're all back as good as new. I'll just show you taking them side panels off to prove how they come off. For a lot of these things you'd use a plastic squidger to get it around the back, but you'll find on this you do need something like a, or I did, like a metal. But you can see there's two gaps there in the bottom, and if you get them two out first, you can just sort of, it is hard to fill because I need to position it on my lap really, but you can see you can get a bit of a gap there, so you can see that just came out there, and again there. If you got one out, just push your screwdriver in the slot that appears. It is a bit awkward. That's both them out there, and then you can get your fingers in to get a bit of prise around it. You've got one about here, remember. It'd be best sliding the lamp bit out of the way. Oh yeah, my mistake, you can see the little gap to put your screwdriver in. It's just appeared there. So once the lamp's out of the way, you can get it in there. That's that out. And then it should just pretty easily come back off. Okay, that's it. So I thought I'd leave that in real time just to show you it does work, not just showing it back together, but yeah, so it just pops off. So swing the lamp up and then gain access to that middle one. Once you've got the two bottom and like one of the middles off, it's easy enough, it just comes off. So again, line it up. Press back in place, and that's it, all done and mended. Back to its usual self. You've got all that range of adjustment on it right the way around, more than 180. Again, still feels nice and smooth to operate. And you've got your first press, it's on high. Second press, it dims it. And see it's staying on. I've been messing about with it for a loads now, so you can see it's down to 2 bars, but it's staying on. Once I've fully charged that up, it will stay on for its prerequisite time. Okay, so there you have it. If you've got one of these that is behaving badly as shown, it's this little thing that's the culprit. Just get yourself a new one, and like I said, dirt cheap, £5 for 5. Hopefully I don't need to put another one on now, but I've got one if they do. You probably be able to get them singular as well. I didn't spend hours looking, but dirt cheap. and an absolute dodle, just 5 wires to go on, and it comes apart pretty easy. Like I said, don't be afraid of tugging at them side panels, because it will come off, don't worry. So yeah, a great little repair, and like I say, it is more than I thought. It's 3 years. I got it in March 2020. It was about June or July, I think I did that review, the very first review. So again, check out the picture at the end if you want to check out the pages from Screwfix and the prices and how good it is in a darkened room and how good it is at night up the drive. A full proper review of it. And yeah, March 2020, so it's nearly 3.5 years old. So yeah, when I tested the battery, I was getting 4.5 hours on low, and when I did it brand new, I got 5 hours. So yeah, almost the same, and well worth repairing. So yeah, like I say, hope it's been of some use. Anything I used, the little circuit boards, the screwdriver and so on, I will put links to below. They are, as usual, affiliated links if they're Amazon links, which means if you buy something, once you've clicked on there, if you buy anything at all from that browsing session, I get a few pennies commission. It won't cost you any extra, but it all helps keep the channel going, and it is, take my word for it, it is only pennies. I think I make about a £5 a month, I think, off Amazon affiliate links. So, loads more reviews in the pipeline. Fingers crossed we're going to be getting some hot weather soon. It's forecast the weather getting hotter. So at last I'll be able to do part 2 of the air conditioning unit you see behind me. I did part 1, the installation of it, a while ago. I've been waiting for some warm weather to give it a thorough workout and test all the temperatures it gets down to. So fingers crossed that will be coming soon. The only delay for that has been me waiting for the good weather, and loads more in the pipeline as well. So if you have gained anything out of this, it's been okay to watch and it's been of any use, please give me a thumbs up. If not, by all means, give me a thumbs down. If you haven't already subscribed, please click the little picture of the shed here, and once you've done that, click the little bell icon below and you'll be informed of any uploads as soon as I do them. So thanks again for watching this one. Catch you for the next one, and bye for now.